A huge problem in America today is the astounding incarceration rate among African Americans. Now, although African Americans make up only 13% of the total U.S. population, they make up a staggering 43% of the nation's prison population. African Americans are incarcerated at nearly double their share of the population. But why? Well, as a recent study explains, African Americans are 7 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of murder and 12 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of drug-related crimes than white Americans. In order to resolve the issue, multiple reforms have been implemented within the criminal justice system. Perhaps the most well-known, the requirement of police officers to wear body cameras. These cameras represent major credibility boosts in courts by eliminating the he said, she said factor and instead presenting hardcore visual fact. During the Obama administration, other important pieces of legislation were put into effect, such as the Fair Sentencing Act and the Smart on Crime Initiative. The Fair Sentencing Act aims to reduce the disparity in the amounts of powder and crack cocaine required to impose mandatory minimum sentences. Now on to the Smart on Crime Initiative. This initiative signifies a comprehensive review of the criminal justice system, and according to justice.org, the 5 goals of the initiative are as follows. Number 1. To ensure finite resources are devoted to the most important law enforcement priorities. Number 2. To promote fair enforcement of the laws and alleviate disparate impacts of the criminal justice system. Number 3. To ensure just punishments for low-level nonviolent convictions. Number 4. To bolster prevention and re-entry efforts to deter crime and reduce recidivism. And lastly, to strengthen protections for vulnerable populations. The last piece of legislation I'll be talking about today came May 23, 2018. With this bill, Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards signed Senate Bill 38, which requires all police agencies in Louisiana to mandate long-established eyewitness identification procedures to prevent wrongful convictions. Now, onto what I did to contribute to the issue. As a brief overview, my civic action consisted of 2 parts. 1. A letter to a government official, and 2. The creation of a social media page to raise awareness for the cause at hand. First things first, given the large scale of my civic action topic, I just knew I had to seek out a top government official if I wanted any significant change to occur. The person I chose to contact was none other but the Attorney General of the Justice Department himself, Jeff Sessions. In my letter, I brought to his attention the incredibly high incarceration rate among African Americans and the amount of African Americans wrongfully convicted. I then explained how these statistics could possibly bring up suspicions of racial bias within our criminal justice system. I urged Sessions to promote criminal justice reform that would bring about crime-appropriate sentences made without taking an individual's skin tone into consideration. My civic action did not just stop at a letter. I just knew that I had to figure out a way to make an impact within my community, and I figured what better way to do that than through social media. Using Instagram as my platform of choice, I created a page which features an array of photos of Black men and women who have been wrongfully jailed. I also made sure to include a brief overview of their story just to provide followers with the background information about the individual. As you will see shortly in the screen recording, the page also features some statistics about the racial disparities among the wrongfully convicted. Now, onto the impact. My initial goal was always to raise awareness. Over the next 2 weeks, I gained a total of 85 followers. Although I did not gain an incredibly high count of followers, the followers I did get were very interactive with my posts. Aside from the simple liking of a post, many of the people following my page have reached out to me directly to discuss 1. Why I chose to cover this topic, and 2. How my cause personally relates to them and their families. The following is a message left to me by one of the page's followers. I really appreciate your efforts to shed a light on this topic. As African Americans, we know based off of observation our high incarceration rates, That is why getting to see the actual faces of the individuals wrongfully jailed and getting to read their stories has helped me become more aware of the issue at hand. As a whole, this civic action project reiterated to me the steps that one must take in order to bring about change. Once I had decided on the topic I wanted to cover, I then had to decide whether the issue could be addressed at either a local, state, or federal level. Quite obviously, I knew that my topic would have to be addressed at a federal level. However, the not so obvious part was, who do I contact for help? Overall, this step-by-step civic action project has shown me not only the different ways with which people can initiate change, but also the pathways people must go through in order to be an active participant for change. I can honestly say this project has furthered my knowledge on not only my topic, but more specifically, how to attract support. In order for people to support my efforts to initiate change, I had to put my voice out there and advertise. I had to be an active advocate for change. Although this project was very time-consuming, it allowed me to have a better appreciation for my voice and the social change my voice could bring. Out of everything this project entailed, the part I am most proud of is the response I got from my followers on the awareness page I made. During a 2-week course, I asked about 100 people, whether it was people I already knew personally or random people I already followed on my personal Instagram page. Out of those 100 people, 85 people followed the account. Aside from this achievement, I also take pride in my financial contribution to the Innocence Project, an organization based in New York that works to exonerate those wrongfully convicted of a crime through DNA testing while simultaneously reforming the criminal justice system in order to prevent further injustice.